They say opposites attract.
Well, how about these opposites? Daddies and sons.
You're listening to Daddy and Son.
A podcast where we explore the dynamics of daddy and son relationships, multi-generational views,
And everything else in between. Hello, everybody.
Hello again, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Daddy and Son. My name is Alex Watson,
And I'm Norm.
and this week we're gonna take it off with Norm, and you're gonna lead us into.
Yeah, I had the idea that perhaps what we should do tonight is talk about a new relationship.
All right.
You've just met somebody. You're a younger guy, you've met an older person, or vice versa, and there's something, you sense something's going on. And what we should talk about tonight is, what are the thoughts that go through the mind as you start out in a new relationship that you think has some potential? And there's a few questions we can talk about as well. So one of them is, how do you know you're matched with each other? What would be the first 2 or 3 dates or meetings that would determine that, hey, this has got some potential?
You want to start there?
We could do that.
Yeah, I'd like to start there. So, for me, coming from a younger perspective, how do I know that this is, at least after the very, very first interaction, date, encounter, I know that this person is the right person for me if immediately off the bat I am getting a sense of value from them. And when I say a sense of value, yeah, when I say a sense of value, I'm talking about from the perspective of, does this person, a lot of people will say, oh, you can't say anything to young people. They're so bold these days. They're so sure of themselves, yet this, that, and the fourth. And the truth of the matter is, with everything that's going on, if you're going to come into most young people's lives, and I'm not going to speak for young people, but I'm going to speak for myself. If you're going to come into my life, you need to
have something to offer.
You need to have something of value to offer. And the value looks different from person to person. Let's face it. When an older person is attracted to a younger person, they're usually attracted to the value that they're bringing is that they're attracted to their energy. They're attracted to their energy.
True.
They're attracted to their youthful good looks. In some cases too.
I would agree with that.
You know, as an older person, value doesn't have to always look in the same way on the flip side. Like, you don't need to have a six-pack. You don't need to necessarily...
And that's good because a lot of older people don't, including me.
have a youthful energy, but value could be experience. Value could be that you have wisdom to bring to the relationship. Value could be that you make me laugh. You bring joy into my everyday life and wonder. Yeah, wonder. As an example, you and I will say, even though we've known each other for years, but let's just say for an example that I had just met you and you're a well-traveled person, Norm.
Well, we could go back 8 or 9 years and pretend we just did. I mean, we remember the emotions. I think part of it's also chemistry.
Yeah.
Do you sense that, hey, there's something that clicks here? I can't put my finger on it. I don't think of the term of value, but I would think, I like this person. I like this guy. This guy kind of does something for me. That's what chemistry is. For you, it's value. For me, it's chemistry. Value for an older, I think the value, you're right. It's the energy. It's the youthfulness. It's the, hey, that's what I'm naturally attracted to.
Yeah.
That's value.
I get chemistry. Here's the reason why I don't think, because when I think of chemistry, I think of chemistry in a very
You're a chemistry major.
holistic way.
You're a chemistry major. That's partly why you can't think about chemistry in the way that I think about chemistry. And by the way, I didn't do very well in chemistry in high school, so I'm not one to. I bow to your knowledge of chemistry in that sense.
I'm thinking about it from a very like a wholesome way, as in how does your quirks and attitudes match or complement my quirks and attitudes? And
when you say something or I say something, we know what each other is thinking, and we can kind of almost finish each other's sentences,
right?
Because we think the same.
Even if I'm saying something that makes utterly no sense to everyone else, and then you
clicks.
will understand it, and it
That's
clicks.
right.
That to me is chemistry.
Okay.
When I think about value added to a relationship, I'm not thinking about, especially to a new relationship between a daddy and a son, I'm not thinking about it from the perspective of chemistry. I'm thinking about it from the perspective of, okay, because I've met older men, which for most of you listeners, if you don't know, and or if you're just joining us and you missed the other two podcasts, I've said this before, that majority of the men that I've dated in the past tend to be older,
and vice versa, younger for me.
So if it's a situation that let me not even say if it's a situation. I have been in situations where I have been on dates with older men, and right away I said, this is not for me, this is not going to work, because there's no value added to anything that I have going on for me that they can contribute to.
All right, well, let's ask this question. What needs to go well in those first 2 or 3 dates with a new person that you know that you've got to first base? First base being, I want to spend more time with this guy.
What does that look like for you? What needs to go well for you?
Number one, I think we got to feel we have something we really both like at the same time. Whether it's cooking, whether it's going out, whether it's a type of movie, but there has to be something, and I'll click my finger, that clicks. At least one thing. 2 things, 3 things, you're far ahead.
You know what? I haven't think about this as in terms of like what folks would like in common, but we're going to take a quick break, and when we get right back, I'll give you my answer on that. So, welcome back. So
I'm looking for your answer.
And I'm going to give my answer. For me, what needs to go well, and I think you're because based on your answers, you're like, what do we have in common? And I still think that's also kind of like a chemistry thing. For me, what needs to go right, what that person needs to do when they show up on day one, moment 101, is I need to see initiative. I need to see emotional availability.
For sure.
I need to see maturity, because I told you, let me tell you something.
Maturity is a plus maturity is essential, even for an older person looking to a younger person. At least from my point of view.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a quick anecdote, listeners. And you probably know this already. And like this summer, I told you when I went out with the multimillionaire that my co-worker had set me up with, he's close friends with her friends, and then he happens to be close friends with other people at my squash club that I didn't even know that they were in the same circle. But I can tell
you, I've never dated a multimillionaire that was younger than I was.
Well, you know what? You'd think that it would be thrilling. It's giving 50 Shades of Grey, more like 50 Shades of Beige. This guy literally, it felt lazy. It felt like I
was doing all the work.
I was doing all the
planning, the emotional work. Oh.
I was doing every time I would come up with somewhere for us to go, a time for us to meet and date. Literally, he canceled on 2 dates back to back. The first one,
But
he
you're
canceled-
you're a natural initiative taker. Not every younger person is like that.
Well, I need to see. I need to see that.
You need to see that in the older person.
in the
is what you're
older
saying.
person.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to see.
Which
the
is why you
initiative.
like me.
Which is why I like you. I need to.
Well, that's what I would call, I don't know if it's chemistry, but it's two things that bring people together. It's
Yeah.
two things they're looking for that they see in the other person that says, "Hey, I like that. I'm comfortable with that." They compliment it. Let's see where this goes.
Which brings me to my next point. I also need to see respect. I need to see you respecting me as an individual. And it also, not just because I'm a young person means that, as an example, you can cancel on me twice and then turn around and say, like, flirt with me to like the hottest proportions, and then be like, so when am I going to see you again? Bitch, you're asking me, you should be telling me you canceled on the last 2
Yes,
dates.
I recall that episode. And you know what? Lack of respect is so common in a lot of gay relationships. It's sort of casual about, oh, I couldn't make it, and there's no follow-up. That absolutely has to be, there has to be respect. There has to be respect for your calendar,
It's funny
your
you
time.
should say that, because I was thinking about it from the perspective that he didn't show me respect because I was a younger person.
Well, that was rude.
So but you're now telling me that you see that on the flip side from younger persons.
Absolutely.
So I think it's
It's got to be mutual.
it's got to be mutual.
That is a key. We talked about this last week. The mutual respect. You got to share something, and you share each other's. Hey, listen, this person is important to me, and that person has other things going on in their life, and I got to recognize that.
Yeah. And, and this is probably where I'm thinking about, like, what values you bring to the table. I think the last one for me is right off the bat, I need to see care. I need to see care, and that can look very different from person to person. As an example, care could be
Empathy.
empathy.
Yeah.
Care could be
How was your day?
how was your date?
Yeah.
Care could be how are you getting home after this date? Do you need a ride? Do you need an Uber? Care could be let me walk you home.
Oh, how romantic.
It's happened to me recently.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Very old school. But and care could be, let me get the door for you. Care can show itself in so many different ways.
And little ways.
And it
it's
could
the
be
little ways
things
that are the big things, that are really
that
the big
speak
things.
the loudest.
Yes.
Little things
Yeah.
that speak the loudest.
That show there's consideration, that shows that they are not the center of their lives, but maybe you are, or maybe not the center of it, but at least they're thinking about you.
Yeah. And that for me is straight out the bat. That is not even like date one. That's how you get to date one. Now, after date one, I only need to see one thing: consistency.
Okay.
And that's it for me. What about you?
Well,
Well, he did say chemistry before.
absolutely consistency, which is integrity, which is this person is what they appear to be.
Yeah,
Okay? Because so many times that is not the case.
that is not the case. I need you to show me who you are and let me believe you.
Yeah. And then we're ready to, that's what I would call getting to first base.
Yeah.
We're at first base. So then it becomes, okay, is this going to go somewhere? Are we going to spend more time together? Are we going to involve other people in our life who need to know about this relationship, or we'd like to share this
Other
relationship
people
with,
like what? Like friends?
like good friends? We should talk about that.
Well, hold up. I know this is getting really juicy. I know this conversation is getting juicy. But we're going to have to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
You've developed a relationship. You've developed a good vibe with the person that you're seeing. You've been out a couple of times. You figure, hey, there's something here. We like doing things together, whether it's cooking or going to the shows or theater or going for a walk or you like cycling, whatever it is, there's something there. And it feels good, that it's new and you like this person, you're attracted. There has to be a physical attraction, by the way. That was something we didn't mention earlier, but I think that kind of we assume that. We assume that, correct.
Yeah.
So
if
then
you didn't know, listeners, it is implied.
Yes, we go for that. But anyway, then you start to think, okay, well, there's more to life than just this person. We each have a circle of family, friends, people that are important to us, people at work, people we see, wherever we go. When do you start to say, hey, I think maybe it's time to, I don't know whether the word is include or mention.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you this. I like to do soft launches. So to me, my non-business business terms.
No, that's that has definitely a very.
I like to do a soft launch, and I'm gonna tell you what my soft launch looked like.
Let's hope the relationship isn't too soft at this point.
I've made this mistake in the past where I meet someone, I get really excited, and I love them. I love spending time with them, and the moment I start talking about them with friends is the moment that they start to be shiftless. They start to draw back. They start to do like weird things. They're no longer communicating with me with the same frequency like they used to, or they're no longer putting the same level of care like they used to. Yeah.
Really?
And so
I'm surprised at that.
I now
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. Sometimes it could be that folks aren't emotionally available. And once you start to involve other people, like once you say, it's summer, my friends are having a cookout, or like for white people like you, maybe a barbecue, I don't know.
Same thing, honey. And I'm going to one tomorrow night too.
How dare you? A cookout and a barbecue are two different things. A cookout has at least two different kind of candied sweet potatoes. It has pies. There's at least 3 meats, dominoes,
Pizza?
and a card game.
Oh.
At a barbecue, it's
meat and potatoes and wine or beer. Yeah, okay, I got it.
Exactly.
But everybody has fun at both of them. That's what's important. But I'm really intrigued by this. I'm intrigued by this because I would say, if you invite me to something that
with friends,
and I will assume, now here's what you haven't clarified. Am I going to something with your young friends? What am I going to go to? If it's a whole bunch of young people, I can see a little bit of reluctance.
But you may not know. You probably don't know.
Yeah.
It could be a mixed crowd.
Yeah.
My crowd is pretty mixed.
Well, you know what? If I'm comfortable with you and you're comfortable with me, why should it matter? So if you're getting mixed reaction, you're getting weird reactions from the person you've invited, then I would suggest you've got to first base, you ain't getting to second base.
And that is why I do soft launches. Soft launch for me is where even if I'm sexually involved with you, I put a limit on that. Okay, so as an example, we go on one date, we're great. We go on a second date, we have sex. I'm not going to chase you out of bed. But
you waited that long?
But if you want sex another time, then you're going to have to show me that there's more to just us having sex to get to that point. Now, let us just say this is fast forward 2 or 3 weeks. You've shown care, you've shown providence. And so I end up...
We're at first base, in other words.
Yes.
We got to first base.
So now we're at first base.
And to use the baseball analogy, we're thinking of stealing second or hoping for a hit to get to second base at least.
Let us just assume at this point we're making multiple home runs, right?
Oh, I'm not sure we're at the home run stage yet.
But I'm just saying, for me, right? At least in the bedroom. Then you start to be shiftless or you start to draw back. In order for me to even get to that next stage with you, I need to see, I need to show, you need to show me level of involvement. You need to show me some initiative. And that's why I say do a soft launch. So I'm going to tell you what a soft launch looks like.
Well, let me ask this question. Initiative, you mean I come to you and say, hey, why don't we do something? You want to see examples of that. You would like to see the older person take some initiative in let's do something together.
That
You don't
could-
want to do all the
That
work
could be
again.
one aspect of showing initiative. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. As an example, homeboy that I was dating earlier this year that I left, he was closeted, and that was fine. But he wasn't showing initiative in terms of every time we were going out,
He wasn't comfortable with himself, hon.
I had to plan everything.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be in certain spaces with me.
So my question is, why was he even involved in this?
Well,
Did that a question occur to you?
well,
It must have,
I'm-
because you're no longer
I'm going
together.
to chop that up to rhetorical because at the end of the day, have you seen me? I'm just playing. But, because, I have my shit together. And let's just be
And you
honest.
did involve your friends. I mean,
And I did involve my
you
friends.
involved me. I
Yeah.
believe I met him.
I
So
did,
there
I
you
did,
go.
I did involve my friends. So and that's what
But he
I'm talking
didn't.
about.
But he
about-
did not involve his.
Exactly.
Yes.
He never involved his and his family, and
So-
initiative
so-
in this case looks like that.
So
for
that's
me.
a test of whether you're at least at second base, and that is there a mutual comfort with one another's family and friends?
And friends.
Yes.
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 And that's why now, which I'm gonna get to, what a soft launch
I'm
is.
gonna get to yes.
I'm gonna get to. A soft launch is where you just have one or two friends, no more.
Fair enough.
One or two friends.
Who you trust and know well.
These are the type
who
of
do
friends
not judge
where
you.
They have to be in your life forever because they know too much.
Yeah, they don't judge you. They are there regardless of the circumstances.
Regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah.
So you have those two friends, and you tell them about them, and you're like, it's early days. And when they're like, okay, what do they look like? You only show them like the abdomen, or you only show them the dick pic. Nothing else.
Okay.
You don't even show them the face.
Oh, okay. We're not ready to show the face.
No, we're not
Okay.
even ready. This is
I
a
see.
soft launch.
Well, some might call it a hard launch, but then I digress.
This is a soft launch. You're only showing like the dick pic, or you're showing them from the back. You don't even want to show them.
So
like,
you're
the
not
face.
really ready to declare yourself as having somebody
No,
in your
because
life.
if the person starts to do something that's dumb and shiftless, and I decide to now give them the chop,
Yeah. They don't
It's a
really have
chop.
they don't really have much to recall in terms of a
Exactly.
person other than another whatever they get shown.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
which
a
is easily
soft
forgotten.
launch. That's a soft launch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for me. That's it for me.
Let's talk about family. I mean, family is an important part of everybody's life in most cases. Younger person, you've probably got brothers, sisters, parents still alive. An older person may or may not have as many family members still alive, but there's still family members there. When do you feel? Should you involve family? When do you involve family? And how do you involve family? Those are the things that I used to think about when I was.
Well, you know what?
I think I stumped you.
No, because I've actually, my experience is quite the opposite. I have dated older men who, like one of the guy I'm seeing now, he's in his 60s, or one of the guys I'm seeing now, he's in his 60s, and both his parents are alive, his siblings are alive, and they're alive and well, and judging me. Meanwhile, as you know, both my biological parents died within the past 3.5 years.
And both mine are gone as well.
Right? So I'm orphaned, but I'm just 30. You know, so how do I don't
And
necessarily.
you're an only child.
And I'm an only child, so I have no
Okay.
siblings.
So you don't. So for you, the family isn't quite as relevant in terms of bringing somebody else into your family situation.
No, but I have friends like yourself that I look to as family.
Okay,
And I've
okay,
told you this so many
okay.
times. Like, you're my fam, right? And your opinion matters. Almost everything I do in my life, I call upon you. If I'm going to take a new job, I call upon you. If I'm going to ask for promotion, I call upon you.
And
if
why
I'm
is
gonna break
that?
up with a guy, I call upon you.
Because you trust.
Because I trust.
Because you feel close. And you know what? If you have a good relationship with your family, whether it's somebody who's really a close friend or it's a brother or sister, if you trust them, you've known them all your life, you should feel comfortable involving them, as long as they don't judge you for being gay. I mean, there are some families where that happens,
Yeah.
and you would not want to involve another person, right?
Well, lucky for me, that is at least with, and I'm
It's-
not, and
it
this is
doesn't
where I'm gonna
apply here.
separate families or versus relatives,
Okay.
because I don't look at relatives as family.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean? But in
Immediate
this,
family, then I should have said. Yeah.
but
okay.
in my case, because all my immediate family is deceased, and my close friends are who I look at as my family, that's not something that is applicable to me.
Well, at
But I
least
will
your
s-
relatives don't live in Texas, because if they did, you might be a little bit more reluctant to involve a gay person or gay partner older in your life. Is that fair? I mean, Texas is not
I mean,
exactly.
I was gonna say Florida, but you know.
And no offense to anybody who
Tomato,
lives there.
tomato. If any listeners who are
Yes,
from
we-
Florida or
we-
Texas,
we don't. But you
We
know,
love you.
You know what we're talking about. You understand what we're saying.
you understand the struggle.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, I think that support from family is extremely important on both party sides.
I agree. My ex, who we were together for 10 years, 20 years younger than me, we had get-togethers with my two brothers from time to time. They don't live anywhere near where Toronto is, but every now and then we would visit, and they would ask questions. How's your other half? I won't name him on the air, but that's just to be fair.
Yeah.
But absolutely. I mean, I was happy and glad to have it. It made the relationship feel more normal, more comfortable,
Exactly.
more accepted. It was vital to have that.
And the thing about it that it shouldn't have to be validated, but it needs to be. And here, at the end of the day, there are two major obstacles that needs to be crossed here.
Mm-hmm.
The obstacle of the fact that and I'm talking about from the third party looking in. The obstacle that this is a queer relationship, right? This is
Yeah.
a homosexual relationship.
Yeah.
So that's part one. Then part two, the age dynamic.
That's the one. A lot of family members can understand or accept gay relationships. I bet you they have a harder time understanding 20, 30 years between two people.
And that is it.
That's the
And
issue.
that is
it's
it.
the age issue
with,
there.
With
It's
the
the
guy
daddy and the
with-
son.
In my life right now,
Yes.
he's 30 years old. He's literally half my senior.
Yeah.
And I feel as though his family, they look at, like, imagine having parents that are close to 90 years old and they're still living, still strong, go on hikes every day.
That is amazing.
And they look at me and I tell him all the time, jokingly, I tell him all, and we laugh about it. I was like, your mother is judging me. And she'll be like, that Alex, he drinks too much. That Alex, what is he wearing?
Well, he does make some very good martinis, I will tell you.
Oh my gosh, listeners, you should see, like, we...
But the point is, he felt and feels comfortable enough to involve you with his family, regardless of their reaction.
Yeah, but what is my...
How do you feel about it?
Exactly. What is
Okay.
my threshold?
All right.
How much longer do I show up to...
Yeah. Does
to
it become
gatherings?
a showstopper with the relationship because of the family that you perceive doesn't really quite support this?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's a barrier. That's a real barrier for some daddy-son relationships.
And that's a real barrier.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel as though and this is where I'm just gonna say this. It's gonna be controversial, but this is gonna be my last point. And please, folks, don't find me on Twitter, don't find me on Instagram, don't spam me, don't dox me. I think it all boils down to, are we all consenting adults here? Forget the age difference. Forget the age difference. Are we all consenting adults here? If the answer is yes,
Well, that's a mature attitude.
then who gives a damn?
That's a mature attitude. Now, what you don't know, if I may suggest, is maybe they are very, very tolerant of younger relationships. They may not just approve of you personally. You don't know that
And that's
for sure.
the tea. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
But the point is, you perceive it to be a relationship, that it's age related.
yes.
And you know what? Maybe in one of our future podcasts, we should talk about how do you overcome those barriers. But at least,
We can talk about it once I know.
yeah. But what you would like is genuine respect. Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
Just think how much better you would feel if his parents were, hey, Alex, it's great to see you. Welcome.
But you know something, Norm? I'm going to tell you this. I've been working them bitches like a hoe on a pole. I've been working them because I think they're starting to like
But
me.
it should be more natural than that.
I think they're starting to like me. They are a lot more warmer to me over the last few weeks. I've still not yet been invited to, as an example, like a family supper, as how I've invited him to a family supper with my friends that I consider as family. But
I'm waiting for that invitation, sweetie. But anyway, that's another issue.
I think when they see me in other social spaces, they're a lot more warmer to me than they were, say,
Okay,
5 months ago.
Okay, so they're getting to know you. That's fair. You know,
think
people
they're-
listen, they're older folks. They've seen a lot of crap in life, and they're also protective of their son. That's part of being a parent.
He's a big boy.
Well,
I'm
will take
not trying to say that in a sexual way.
I will
but-
take your word for that. All right, we're definitely digressing, and we're going downward here with this. We didn't mean to, folks. But we are talking about, and we have been talking about this evening, or whenever you're listening to this, how does a newer daddy-son relationship break into the circle of mutual friends and mutual family?
Yeah. And close family. Yeah.
And close family. Family. Not relatives, but close family.
Yeah, immediate family. Absolutely. We'd like to hear your opinions. Please sound
Yes.
off in wherever you are listening to this. Apple Mew, Spotify, or the YouTube comment section. We would like to hear what you think.
Yep. And if you think we're out to lunch, let us know. And if we didn't address something that we should, we want to hear that too.
Thank you so much for tuning in this week to Daddy and Son. We will see you again next week. Any final words from you, friend?
Very soon we'll see you. Thanks, everybody, and be good.
All right. Bye for now.